Non-Americans. Does your country have any American restaurant and what do they serve? I used to live in Sofia, Bulgaria. There was this awesome spot downtown that made proper Southern-style barbecue like brisket. Their chef was this cool black guy from South Carolina, too. The owner was 100% Bulgarian, but he was obsessed with American culture the way the otaku nerd out about Japanese anime. He had an impressive collection of bourbons, too, and he was obsessed about making everything perfectly faithful to the American-style dining experience. Yeah, it's usually burgers, fries, fried chicken, pancakes, and milkshakes, basically a greatest hits menu of American fast food stereotypes. There's an American restaurant in Bo, Sierra Leone called American Restaurant. Served Lebanese food with French fries. Not sure if adding the fries made it American, or if they also have fries with everything in Lebanon. Most American diners in Europe are just 1950s fever dreams. They serve burgers named after Elvis and milkshakes that could legally be classified as wet concrete, all while playing a soundtrack of songs that Americans haven't actually listened to since the Nixon administration. American, but when I was stationed in Korea, a few weird ones came to mind. A Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza. It wasn't stuffed with cheese, but rather sweet potatoes. A Texas-themed bar. Shots of tequila came with lemon instead of lime, and instant coffee instead of salt. A local restaurant advertising American cuisine. I had the spaghetti. The sauce was made with carrots instead of tomatoes. About 10 years ago, diners were a big hit, in Copenhagen, Denmark. A little expensive and not super good. But the free refills on coffee was nice. I know this isn't entirely related, but I love visiting American restaurants when I travel abroad. I try to hit one in each country I go to. Not because it's good or I'm homesick, but because seeing how American food has changed depending on the country it's served in is super interesting. For instance, in the Netherlands I went to a restaurant saying it served American-style hot dogs. They gave me a bratwurst served on a baguette. I was offended on behalf of American, French, and German people. An Irishman once said, "I love the USA. It's the only country that's never been Americanized." American who flew to Austria. The only restaurant open on a Sunday night was an American restaurant. It was kind of an Applebee's-style place with American stuff everywhere, but also Vespers. It was mostly burgers and wings. I had a schnitzel burger and I ate it with my hands like an animal. I watched a guy fork and knife a burger, which was just wild to see. There's American chains like McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King and KFC, but there's also a small Argentine chain called Canzers in Buenos Aires that is bougie and serves stuff you wouldn't normally get in Argentina like spinach dip or barbecue ribs or Tex-Mex appetizers and clubhouse sandwiches. It's very expensive compared to the average Argentine salary, so it's mostly wealthy people that go there, though the vibe is like Diet Cheesecake Factory without the deserts, so it's locals dressed up nice and tourists in shorts and t-shirts. Outback is pretty popular in Brazil. It's an Australian-themed chain started by Americans. No, it doesn't make sense to us either. They do a lot of ribs, steaks, fried chicken etc. with Aussie names. There's a few TGI Fridays also, but not as common. Always thought the French restaurant with Native American decor that served Tex-Mex and was called Indiana was an interesting spin on American food. Yes, it's called a McDonald's, and they sell hamburgers. In Mexico City we have a barbecue joint called a Pinche Gringo, damn gringo. In Australia we have Outback Steakhouse, which as you know, is an Australian-themed American chain restaurant, in Australia. In Tokyo I went to a Tex-Mex restaurant because it was the only thing open at 11 p.m. in the sleepy suburb where I was staying. Nachos were slathered in mayo instead of cheese. 10 years later I still think about how awful that meal was. American here but living in Singapore. There's a few American restaurants, one called Nitty Gritty that serves all manner of grits. Another is a Texas-style barbecue restaurant. As a former Texan, they do it very well. Very authentic. Even down to stocking Shiner beer, which you can't find anywhere else in Singapore. Yes, and typically it's what you'd expect. Burgers, wings, etc. There was a bit of a trend a few years back where people got very into the idea of American barbecue, and some of those restaurants popped up. Funny enough, we had a very popular Italian-American restaurant. Which, while we are not Italian, we're like a 2-hour train ride from Italy. And so it was a bit of an reverse. Don't think it survived COVID sadly, but Japan has quite a few of these. I remember visiting a restaurant that was sort of styled on a ponderosa with a salad bar and all. The steak was some of the best I'd eaten anywhere. We have the Windsor Sandwich Shop, which serves the Trump sandwich. It is 2 slices of white bread, it's full of bologna, it has Russian dressing, comes with a wall of Mexican tortilla chips, and is served with a tiny pickle. I didn't go there obviously, but near the Vatican is a restaurant called the United Tastes of America. I love how Cool Ranch Doritos are often called American flavor abroad. I went to an American restaurant in Kilkenny, Ireland once. Oddly, it is the only place where I have experienced a donut burger, a purportedly American scam where the center of the patty is hollow. I was in Geneva for work and we took our customer to a fancy restaurant that every was excited about. We sit down and after a bit I noticed an American flag art piece on the wall. Being American, I didn't think much of it until I remembered I was in fucking Switzerland. Then we got our menus and there were a bunch of NYC-themed dishes. Big Apple this year and a Manhattan that. The kicker was someone ordered something like Empire ice cream cake for dessert. It was in the shape of the Empire State Building, and it had lit fucking sparklers when it arrived. It was like fever dream. I was never so embarrassed to be an American. That is, until I had to travel to Taiwan just after Trump started his stupid fucking war with Iran. Like 20 years ago, I stopped by an American pizza restaurant in the Netherlands. Might have been Belgium. Either way, it was interesting. Lots of random Americans-ish decorations inside and on the menu. Had a pepperoni pizza. I'm pretty sure the sauce was just straight Heinz ketchup. Not American specifically, but when I was in Taiwan as an exchange student many years ago, there was a Christmas dinner restaurant. Turkey, ham, stuffing, potatoes, cranberry sauce, the works. So us kids all skipped school on Christmas, not a holiday there, and had Christmas dinner for lunch. Har. Canadian, we have a place called East Side Mario's that's like a gabagool-flavored Olive Garden. Edit, we also have a Montana's, which is like an outdoorsy-themed Applebee's chili st gif kinda thing. KFC in Tajikistan goes hard. But also gives me the craps. My favorite thing is that in every KFC, they have a map of the US with Kentucky, so all the Tajiks know where the Holy Land is.